Cooks has advised he's caught in traffic and may be here somewhere around 5:30. And Mr. Harvey will not be here tonight, for the record. All right. So moving on to item number 1 on our work and briefing session. I discussed the agenda items.
Yes.
City Manager, floor is yours now.
Good evening, everyone. We have 2 items, it looks like, on our consent agenda. Item 4A is consider the minutes for the March 21st joint meeting, the March 28th joint meeting, the April 5th City Council regular meeting, and the April 11th City Council special meeting. Okay. Item 4B, a motion to accept the audit of financial statement for, I think that we're just going to be pulled from the, we're going to ask for that to be removed from the agenda for this meeting. And so we only have 1 item.
Okay, very good. That takes us to item number 2 on the agenda, briefings, presentations. The first one we have, City Secretary, City Council calendar, please.
Okay, like the mayor said, I'm gonna make this really brief and short, but what I wanted to bring to your attention is on April 26th, we're gonna have a special meeting with City Council at 6 p.m. I do know 1 council member is already out during that time, but that is to go over the audit committee findings. Now, on May 3rd, I have a question for y'all. That is the day that the ISD is going to be, May 3rd, yes. Our next city council meeting, that is when the ISD is going to have a ceremony for the boys basketball team. I wanted to know if y'all wanted to cancel that meeting and attend the event or keep the May 3rd city council meeting as it is.
I would suggest we cancel because of our relationship and wanting to honor the boys for what they've done. And we're working on arrangements in terms of presenting them something for that, which is gonna take some time as well. So probably in the interest of making sure we get there at 6:30 and to be present to represent the city, staff and council, to want to participate with that. I think it's probably best that we do cancel that meeting so we don't put ourselves under any undue pressure and be late for something that's very, very important for the entire city.
And I would agree that we will cancel. But I'd also say if we got business to do, we need to make sure we're doing our business as well.
We have the 26th, if we have something we can add to it.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So we're good with canceling the May 3rd city council meeting, and we will have a special meeting on April 26th. And if you have any questions on any of the events on the calendar, or if you need to RSVP, just call me or Miss Candace and we will get that taken care of for you. Yes,
The 28th, is that tentative?
still tentative. Yes, I'll get with finance and Jennifer and see.
And explain to me what's gonna happen in the meeting, and I'm not gonna be able to attend.
They're gonna go over the audit, their financials that we were gonna do tonight. We're gonna do that on the 26th.
We're gonna get an explanation tonight here or out there as to why
Yes.
this meeting being moved.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we will provide you the information before the meeting too, so you will have that, sir, even though you will not be there.
Thinking about you're not being able to be present, Mr. Contreras, we will be getting that information ahead of time. I would just make a recommendation or a suggestion that once you read it over, send your comments to Ms. Farrell Benavides so that your concerns can still be addressed even though you won't be here.
Sure.
I think that would be great value to the city and to the council to know your inputs and what those would be.
Will we be getting that information this week?
Oh, I finished one. Yes, sir.
Yes.
I actually have not received an official document. And so a lot of times some auditors will only present it on the day of, and which is what they were gonna do. That wasn't acceptable. They had a pre-meeting today and had some things that we hadn't even had a chance to see or respond to. So I'm working, I spoke with them today on getting the document, but I will schedule some time to meet with you to go over it prior to that in case there are things that I need to just take in writing as your feedback. So before that meeting, you and I will meet with finance to go over it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Anything else on the calendars?
That's it, sir.
That's it. All right, moving on to item 2B, presentation from Village Tech students regarding a dog park in Duncanville. Mr. Stevenson.
Yes, sir, I was going to introduce a group of young ladies who come up and speak about the dog park. These ladies called me several months ago, were interested in studying possibly a dog park here in Duncanville. And they did a fabulous job of presenting their results to the park board at their March meeting. And the park board recommended they come speak to you as soon as possible, so that's why they're here tonight. So then I'll introduce Lindsay Hare and her group.
Hello. My name is Lindsay, and we are Park City from Village Tech, and we are very excited and honored to be here today.
I'm Giselle. I'm Kylie. I'm Brooke.
And as far as why we wanted to do this, we were very passionate about creating a dog park for the community because we all love our pets and just think it would be a great thing to have for our community. So as far as the benefits for the Duncanville community, that would be pet confidence, business revenue, community behavior, pet health, real estate boost, and adoptions. So those are the benefits.
As far as our research goes, we went starting down back in October with our dog experts and going to different dog parks and getting that research done and really getting the feel of, what makes a dog park, not just a piece of land. And here we went to White Rock Lake, which is quite the drive away, and Tails and Trails, which we didn't have in favor, but we did take into consideration of. And we also have Midlothian Dog Park, which is still a drive, but we really like this one because it has an intake of dog obstacles and a great amenities of the water access and trails. And we really would like that to have in our dog park.
So this is actually a map that we created. So we visited different parks in the Duncanville community, and these were our top 4. So the purple spot is actually our school. And the other spots are the parks that we are going to talk to you about today that we like the best. And when we went to all of these different parks, we kind of made a grading scale of what we liked and what we wanted in the park. So this is that. We did it on a key of 1 to 5, 1 being there was none of that things, just trees, and 5 being there was tons of it. So our number 1 park that we liked the best was actually Rotary Park, and our second was Redbird. You can see at the bottom of each picture, how much, available parking they had, as well as land, water, and trails. Our third park that we liked was actually Lakeside, and our 4th was Harrington. And then this is just an overview of the actual landscape of where we would actually have the dog park. You can see 2 parks are pretty minimalistic when it comes to trees, and 2 of them have lots of trees.
Now, as you can see over here, this is our SketchUp that we designed. This is based off of Rotary Park. So as you can see, it has obstacles, fountains, waste dispensers, and we would also like to have a small dog area and a large dog area as well. And then as far as how we would make the dog park unique to Duncanville compared to other dog parks in the area, we thought of doing a City of Champions theme since this is Duncanville. So we thought of basing all the obstacles on your table on a City of Champions theme and also having them be photo opportunities. So like the one right there, the stand like first, second, third, that could be a great opportunity for photos and to even have something in the background saying City of Champions, dog park, just places for people to take pictures of.
So when it came to coming up with estimated costs, we thought of all the utilities that we wanted to include in the dog park, which included the water fountain, which we picked a lower costing one and a higher costing one. So it ranged from $4,000 to $5,000. Signs were around $50 each. The waste system is around $300 to $700, depending on like what you get and what you include in it. And the benches, it would be around $1,100 to buy them, but if we built them at Village Tech, it'd be around $200. And obstacles, those were very expensive when we were looking at them, so some ranged from $300 to $2,600, but the cost would be cut for those a lot if we built them at the school, giving our estimated total to around $28,000. So when it comes to the partnership, Village Tech is ready to provide design support. So we plan to go and work with the community, with the building, and get like input and inspiration from other citizens, as well as, making it here in Duncanville.
And as far as the fundraising events and event planning, we really want to include Duncanville and bring the people in by supporting each other and the community, bringing fundraising for this dog park event, or for the actual dog park, and having events that include the Duncanville community.
And if this is something that you guys do want to partner with us on, we will definitely be looking for sponsors and we'll definitely help provide those for you guys.
And as far as maintenance, we will definitely have students from Village Tech working on it and keeping the park maintained, whether it's for school projects or for the National Honor Society and getting volunteer hours, but we will definitely have people taking care of it.
And we as Village Tech students are able to dedicate our time and our maintenance and effort into this. As you can see right here, this is a space in our school called our Forge. As you can see, it's basically like a workshop. We have saws, laser cutters, we have a glow forge. It's actually how we made these. So we definitely have a space in our school to actually make the things that we would need for our park.
You're done?
Yes, thank you for having us. You guys have,
Silence is deadly.
no, if you have any other questions, you can reach us at our email and phone number after
Okay,
tonight.
going
Thank you.
back to your number one location with the photograph that you have, that heavily wooded area, you're calling it Rotary Park,
Yes.
but it's essentially across the street, right? Who owns that land?
Duncanville.
Very good, just making sure you understand. Seeing how you research it, yeah, that is city-owned property as well. So when you looked at all this, what about infrastructure? Okay, there's water fountains, but how about bringing in water fountains? Or is that something that's gonna be left for that kind of work to the staff to figure out how much it's gonna cost to bring water and utilities into this in order to just power the fountains and so forth?
There's a water hydrant at the corner of Wheatland and Venice there.
Okay.
And so it is definitely feasible. It has been discussed with, because this is an area that we've kind of known about for a while as a possibility. And so just so happens that ranked as number one for them.
Very good. Mr. Crooks, have a seat, please.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, they just finished, so. Come on. So, I've been to a few dog parks myself, and looking at, there's a myriad of surfaces that are used. I mean, even look at Clyde Warren and all the others that you've been to. And some of the discussions I've had with the people that run those things is that there's a lot of cost or a lot of research has to be done in terms of what that service ought to be, in terms of the sanitation, bacteria, the elimination of feces and urine from that, and how that's maintained. It's not just a matter of taking a pooper scooper and going through that. Have you done any kind of research on what kind of surface we actually ought to have in this and what that looks like in terms of cost?
We actually have not researched that far into it.
Okay, so to sum up then, your primary research was to find the best location for us in the city and for what amenities could be used. And so the deep stuff is still sitting on city staff to do that kind of research for you, or for us, I guess.
And I believe what they're proposing here is a partnership. Obviously, they're not asking to just do this all on their own, that they're asking for a partnership between Parks Department and the city. And so, and I believe that they're offering to contribute a major component to this, in my opinion, because there are other parks in the area, but the question is how can we make this something that's special, that's attractive and unique to Duncanville? And I believe they're offering that primary component to this, what's going to make it really attractive, and then the ability for them to be able to construct a lot of the components and to reduce a lot of the costs. So I believe what they're offering in this partnership is something that will be very valuable to us.
So following up on what was just said, are we prepared to have staff look into a question like yours about the sanitation side of this?
Hey, would you allow them to speak? They've actually been
yeah,
doing work on this also, so it would be a perfect time for them to talk about what they've done.
Mr. Hughes and Mr.
Yeah, we have
Hammond.
been doing some research on the dog parks for quite some time, and since their presentation, we've gone and looked at some additional some dog parks in the area, and by far the most common is just natural turf, natural grass for these dog parks. If you put in artificial turf, then you do get into sanitation type issues that probably cause issues for us in addition to additional cost would be significant for artificial turf. So most dog parks for that reason are natural turf, and they usually typically are irrigated so that you can try to keep grass growing as best you can. And they also have an area where you can rest. So they have 3 separate areas, and one area is always resting at all times, and they rotate dogs to the big dogs and little dogs to the 3 areas. So that's best practices. Now, that's not necessarily what we have to do here. I would agree that we want to do something unique, and I think the girls have done a wonderful job of coming up with some great ideas. I was very impressed with the work that they did with in the forge. It got my mind thinking about maybe some other things they can do for us, not just with dog parks, but with some signage and some unique things they can do, and be a great partnership with our department and the city as a whole. So we're really looking forward to working with these folks and taking us to the next step.
Yes, in terms of looking at the participation, I think it's gonna be a wildly anticipated project to come into our city as a partnership. The current parking, this isn't for you ladies, this is more for his staff as well. You know, what are we gonna do about parking? Because the current parking lot that we constructed a Rotary, and the people that are gonna be using this dog park is probably gonna be far.
There is a small parking
far
area there
outnumbered
now,
what we do.
correct. You're exactly right. There's a small parking area there now that could probably suffice in phase 1, but to get us off the ground. But at some point, yes, we'd have to expand that parking area there. Hopefully, because with this thing would be a great success and everybody want to come there.
Sure, I think it would
We'd be overrun with cars. That'd be a great problem to have. But we would have to probably expand the parking lot that's existing there now at some point to accommodate the traffic.
Very good. Yeah, Mr. Coons.
Couple of questions. What concerns might there be with the neighborhood that's right there? So we have to put up any extra barriers or fencing or foliage?
That's a great question. We would want to bring those residents into our discussion for sure. I envision not taking the dog park to the full extent of the northern boundary of that property. We would have a buffer, and that would provide them some distance from the barking dogs, if you will, during the day. And so, but yes, living screens, taller fences, all things. That's a really heavily wooded area that helps. But if additional foliage is needed to help reduce those effects, we can certainly do that as well.
Mr. Contreras.
Just a quick question. How many of you are graduating this year? Y'all are. So you have people coming up behind you?
Yes.
Follow your dream?
Our project is considered a legacy project. So we already have students from each high school grade who have volunteered to help take on the project once we graduate. And we've all volunteered to come back later and help guide them with whatever they need. And we're going to provide them all the information we have and all the information we're going to be given to help them continue it on.
I should have known. Good answer. Yeah. Good answer. Thank you.
Mr. Veracruz.
Thank y'all for presenting. And we've looked at that area before, vaguely, for a dog park. And so, I forget the gentleman's name on Keep Duncanville Beautiful from Midland, Spanish guy. He's got some, yes, right, yeah, he's got some experience in dog parks, I believe, from up there. So we definitely want to talk to him. And then I've got a few sponsors that probably be interested. So is there like a formal committee or something that's organized?
Not currently. If you guys want to create that, then we certainly will take that forward.
Definitely like to do that. 'Cause I know there's some folks in the city that would love to have that. I would love to have that. It's in my district, which it doesn't matter, but we need one. We need one in the area. So appreciate y'all.
Well, one observation, the location you selected has been my personal location selected over 2.5 years ago. It's gratifying to know that my choice is your choice. Because I looked everywhere to see what did we have in the city that would be primary location, what's available, what in terms of natural shading, the natural landscape and everything, centered to the city. And I really felt that it's an opportunity to use that land in such a wonderful way. So validating what I had hoped for to see for a dog park in our city coming from you folks is very, I'm thankful for that. It wasn't too far off base coming up with, and looking at all of our parks. I think, you know, when I look at your academics in terms of what you go through to get out of high school and what you're taught in terms of the scientific disclosure of a project, what you go through, the steps of Scientology, to see what are the observations, what are the hypotheses, what are the theories, and what are the results. I think you've taken your academics to the nth degree in terms of coming up with a project. I also want to commend you four ladies for your presence, your eloquence, your articulation, and being very, very professional in your speaking and what you've done. You are right there, very, very right there. You are great ladies.
Thank you.
Okay, we do not have an executive session. That really concludes our work session and briefing session. We are scheduled to go into open city council at 5:30.
We can go early.
We can go early.
Yes, we're done.
It'd probably be the best thing since we're on tight schedule. Mr. Cooks, what I mentioned earlier was that we really need to have a hard stop at 6 so that those of us on council who want to get to the Duncanville Independent School District for their celebration of scholars with the superintendent. It's about a 10-minute drive from here. So I'm really looking for a hard stop at 6 for all of us that want to participate in that, to leave and get to the camp and get in position a little early. So it would be good if we can go ahead and close our work session and briefing session, move out into council chambers, and let's move on from there. Thank you.
5:23.
5:23. All right, thank you very much. Going to call the meeting to order. Our open city council session, the timestamp is 5:31. And we'll then proceed with the invocation with Pastor Jeff Conrad from Grace Place Church. Pastor Conrad, please rise.
There we go. I pushed it. First of all, on behalf of the Grace Place Church, I want to send our greetings to you all and let y'all know that we're very grateful for what you do for our city. Let's pray. Our Father, we're so thankful for this time and this place in which we live. We're thankful for the city of Duncanville, for what it stands for its people that make up this wonderful city. But tonight we specifically pray for this council. We pray for the complex issues that they have to grapple with. And we just pray, Lord, that you will give them a wisdom that is beyond themselves, that the things that they say, the things that they do will not only be in accordance to your will, but will also benefit this great city of ours. Lord, we're grateful for our neighbors who are here tonight. We're grateful for the diverse neighbors that we have here, and we just ask, Lord, that you continue to bless this community with growth, that you continue to bless this community with harmony and peace, that you continue to bless this community with leaders that will serve you and serve us. We're grateful for their servant hearts, and we're grateful for their families who share them with us. So we ask all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in pledges to our flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. Moving on to item number 1 on our agenda for tonight, reports. Item 1A is the mayor's report. I just have one quick thing to report, and that is that the coffee with the mayor that normally is scheduled for tomorrow, I have moved that to next Wednesday at the senior center at 8:30 in the morning. Any other council members' reports? Seeing none, moving on to city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As we are in the beginning of our budget season for our next fiscal year, our budget priority survey is still open. The survey will be available at Duncanville.com through April 30th. We have received about 75 responses thus far. The survey is an opportunity for the citizens to give us feedback and on the priorities in which they feel that our funds should be allocated towards. So this is an opportunity to create an active community who's engaged in helping us to decide how we allocate the resources in developing the budget. Parks and Recreation. Keep Duncanville Beautiful Community Cleanup will be held on Saturday, April 23rd from 8 a.m. to 11 at Waterview Park. Come join the Keep Duncanville Beautiful for the Waterview cleanup. 10 Mile Creek, which runs along a section of Waterview Park, eventually dumps into the Trinity River and then into the Gulf of Mexico. Removing litter not only beautifies the land, but also helps to protect our oceans. The Duncanville DCEDC will be hosting the UT Southwest Redbird Medical Center Job Fair on April 27th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Fieldhouse. Eventbrite signups are available. We are moving forward, as many of you have seen, with our Wheatland Plaza. 2 roll-off containers were delivered to the property for demolition and trash removal. Clean and show permits were issued for vacant spaces, allowing power to be restored to those spaces, and an agreement has been signed for concrete and asphalt repairs of the parking lot. The repairs are expected to be completed within the next 7 to 10 days. Additionally, the property management company is removing old landscape weeds around there, signage, decals, cleaning, and making sure that this is an investment that the city will be proud of. ARPA Emergency Business Assistance Program. Council has voted to allocate funding from the American Recovery, which is what we call our COVID money, for our businesses and to support our businesses. 38 applications have been received to date. The first review is scheduled for May 9th. Businesses will be informed of acceptance or denials by May 16th, and the grant administration will begin on May 23rd. Please see our website if you need more information on the availability of these funds. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Clay Mansell. He is our Economic Development Manager. He graduated from the University of Oklahoma's Development Institute. This is a major compliment. Will you stand, Mr. Clay? I'd like to congratulate him. This certification is a certification from the premier economic development organization, and as he has been with us now for several months, I thank him for his hard work and assistance and look forward to a long tenure with the city of Duncanville. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager. Moving on to item number 2 on our agenda. Item 2A is a recognition of the Mayor's Champion. And following that, I will also do the proclamation recognizing Police Memorial Week. If you're no stranger to City Council, you know that it is my practice to recognize individuals in our city for outstanding achievements. And while we are the City of Champions, I've taken that a step much further to recognize not just the athletes, where we got that moniker from, but to recognize individuals in the arts, in education, in business, in media, in all different genres of how you can support and serve our city, even to the extent of recognizing individuals in Citizens on Patrol. Tonight, it is my honor and my pleasure to recognize as a champion of the city, Ms. Amy Jackson. So I want to read the item that I have devised for you tonight. And should we recognize your husband too?
My husband Tom back there, he's got the phone.
And having attended several of many of the performances at the Duncanville Community Theater, I see a lot of members of the cast and support back there as well here for you. So thank you all for coming. Champion of the City, Amy Jackson. Ms. Amy Jackson founded the Duncanville Community Theater, spelled it right. Yeah, if you see that, a lot, it's the R-E instead of the E-R. That's the British way, I guess. Yeah, okay. Ms. Amy Jackson founded the Duncanville Community Theater in 1988 and is producing the theater's 34th season. The Duncanville Community Theater is widely renowned for the quality of its productions using exceptionally talented local citizens. As director and producer, each year, Ms. Jackson reads hundreds of scripts to select very special ones for the community. She ensures the plays offer a wide variety of genres, including musicals, comedies, dramas, and even romances. The theater was not silent during COVID. In November 2021, Ms. Jackson produced an outdoor concert of Broadway show tunes interspersed with Shakespearean quotations. This event served to further bond our citizens together as a family. As co-owner of AV Pro Incorporated, her technical expertise also extends into designing lighting and sound systems for the theater and the Hopkins Senior Center. AV Pro Incorporated is a strong and visible supporter of numerous activities and events for the city and the Duncanville ISD. For making a substantive and sustainable positive impact in our city, Ms. Amy Jackson is hereby recognized as a champion of the city. As mayor of the city of Duncanville, I ask our residents to join me in congratulating Ms. Jackson on this memorable occasion. Congratulations. And along with that is a medallion of the city. So with that, let's get some pictures with Alex.
I got it, Mayor. I got it, Mayor.
I would just like to say a couple of words. You know, nothing happens without a whole bunch of people behind you and a lot of strength. And one of those strengths that has to be recognized is the city of Duncanville, who gave us permission back in 1988 to do 2 shows in the summer. And we had no idea we'd still be doing this 34 seasons later, beginning our 35th season in June. And so we are grateful for that partnership, and I want to acknowledge that publicly, that it does take a village, it takes an army to make this happen, and we're grateful for it. Thank you, Mayor Gordon. I am so grateful and honored for this, to receive this.
Thank you, Amy. The next item on the agenda is a proclamation for National Police Week. And to receive this, Chief Lavigny and Assistant Chief Stogner, please join me. And the rest of the police force. Sergeant Reese, Freeze, and Officer Williams. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls is National Police Week. And whereas the members of the law enforcement agency of the city of Duncanville play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of Duncanville. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. Whereas the men and women of the law enforcement agency of the City of Duncanville unceasingly provide a vital public service. Therefore, I, Barry L. Gordon, Mayor of the City of Duncanville, Texas, do hereby call upon all citizens of Duncanville and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 15th through the 21st, 2022 as National Police Week, with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers of the City of Duncanville, past and present, who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to our community, and in so doing have established for themselves an enviable and enduring reputation for preserving the rights and securities of all citizens. I further call upon all citizens of the City of Duncanville to observe May 15th, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice to their community or have become disabled in their performance of duty. And let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. Signed, Barry L. Gordon, Mayor of the City of Duncanville. Police Chief, Mr. Levigny, Assistant Chief Stogner, Sergeant Freeze, Officer Williams, we pay our respects.
Mayor and the citizens of Duncanville, it disheartens me that we even have to have such a proclamation for our fallen men and women in blue. But I am very appreciative that we do pause and we recognize the sacrifices that have been made, not only by our two fallen officers, Sergeant Michael Pohl and Officer Roger Hobden, but of officers all over this country. We want to make our community, and we strive to make our community as safe as possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Just two items of housekeeping for those present. Mr. Patrick Harvey, Mayor Pro Tem, is absent tonight, and he did give us notice that he wasn't going to be able to be here for tonight. And you may be wondering why we are recognizing National Police Week at the end, at this point in April versus it being the 15th through the 21st of May. The reason for that is that we've just made a decision in briefing to cancel the normal May 3rd City Council meeting because of a conflict. The city, well, let's put it, the Duncanville Independent School District is choosing that day at 6:30 in the evening, May 3rd, to honor the state boys basketball champions. And we want to be present to do that. In fact, we are putting together something to award them as well from the city council and from the staff of the city. So in looking at that and deconflicting it, we have canceled our May 3rd meeting. That's why we did the National Police Week commemoration for tonight. I guess there's a third item, and that third item, we're running really tight here. We wanted to look for a hard stop at 6 o'clock because some of our council members also want to participate in the Duncanville Independent School District Superintendent's honoring some of his scholars. And that is off campus here. It's 6400 West Camp Wisdom. So we would like, if possible, to do a hard stop at 6. We'll see if we can do that as close as possible. And it's going to be a little rough, but we can do so. So we have pulled item 2C from the agenda, going to citizens' input. Comments are not broadcast during the election season. During pursuant to section 551.007 of the Texas Government Code, any member of the public has the opportunity to address the city council concerning any matter of public business or any posted agenda item. However, the act prohibits the city council from deliberating any issues not on the public agenda, and such non-agenda issues may be referred to city staff for research and any future action. All persons addressing are subject to council adopted rules and limitations, which is a 2-minute time that you have to speak to council. So the first card that I have, from, I guess, number one, we have any inputs for emails from city secretary? Seeing none. Okay, I have one card here from Erica Browning. Oh, Mr. McNamara, did I skip something?
Yeah, sorry, Mayor, just real quick. That item C on the proclamations and presentations we're not doing.
Yes, he did say it was removed.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, yes. That item has been pulled by the city manager. Yes, thank you. Moving on to item number 4 on the agenda, the consent agenda. City manager, please. Oh, I'm sorry, city secretary. Always.
Consider the minutes for the March 21st joint meeting, the March 28th joint meeting, and the April 5th City Council regular meeting, and the April 11th City Council special meeting.
I'm catching up, just a moment, please.
And item 4B has been removed.
Very well. Chair will entertain a motion to
Motion to
approve the
approve.
agenda.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. McBurnett, second by Mr. Kuntz. Council, please vote. Thank you. Unanimously approved. Moving on to item number 5A, and items for individual consideration. Conduct a public hearing, parens 2022-05, for consideration and action regarding the request of Oscar D. Castillo, applicant representing J. Carbon Ortiz, owner, to include a specific use permit, quotes, SUP for carport on Hilltop Estates, 7, Block E, Lot 13, City of Duncanville, Dallas County, Texas, more commonly known as 455 Azalea Lane. For those present, the manner in which we conduct a public hearing is this. The staff member responsible for that particular item makes the presentation. Once the presentation concludes, I will then open the public hearing. Individuals that want to speak in favor or in opposition to that item will have that opportunity to speak. Once the public hearing is closed, and we close that with a motion from the council, then council will have an opportunity for further discussion with staff as appropriate. So, presenting this item, Mr. Tennant, Neighborhood Services Director. Mr. Tennant, please.
Honorable Mayor and Council, City Manager. I just want to give you guys a brief summary of the SUP request for a carport at 455 Azalea Lane. It's located right at the corner of Azalea. This is actually proposed to go to the rear of the property off of an existing easement. The request for the carport meets all the area bulk standards. It meets the material standards, and we've received no responses for or against the request. On March the 28th, the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously voted in favor of the request. Any and all building associated aspects will be approved by our building official as well. But as for the zoning, it met everything that was required.
Thank you, Mr. Tennant. I will now open this as a public hearing, and the manner in which this is done, we conduct the public hearings in one conglomerate in terms of the agenda. So we will have 10 minutes for the individuals that wish to speak in support, and that's all individuals, not each individual has 10 minutes. So any individuals who wish to speak in support, the aggregate total for that is 10 minutes. I will then call forward those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to it, and that's an aggregate of 10 minutes. We will then close the public hearing by motion and then open to discussion with council. So at this time, timestamp is 5:54. I'm opening the public hearing on item 5A. Conduct a public hearing 2022-05 for consideration action on this request that we have before us for a special use permit. All individuals that wish to speak in favor of this item, please come forward. Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to that individual or individuals who wish to speak in opposition. Please come forward. Seeing no individual present that wish to speak in opposition, I do have one card, and it is from Emily Bridges. I will pass this information on to the city manager for the record. Emily Bridges, 418 Oleander Street, wishes to state opposition to the SUP, but the individual does not wish to speak. So we will take that as in something in opposition. Anybody else present wish to speak in opposition? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make the motion to close.
We have a motion to close the public hearing, and it's by Mr. McBurnett to close. Second that by Mr. Kuntz. Council, please vote on closing the public hearing. Thank you, unanimously approved. Timestamp on 5:55. Council, any questions of Mr. Tennant? Oh, sorry, Mr. Kuntz.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Tennant, could you go back, I think the previous, well, actually this one too. So is this carport, we haven't heard, is it located in the front?
It's on the rear. There's a rear alley in the back that the carport has been proposed to go along.
Okay, so it's going to be in the back of the
Yes, sir.
property. Okay, and then could you go to the next slide? When you talk about proposed to, it meets the material standards, could you explain exactly how it meets material standards? What that means?
That's a very good question, because unfortunately we can't really enforce material standards because of the state law. However, there are materials such as the iron, the metal posts that is being utilized, and also the top layer of the carport that is actually going to meet the quote-unquote threshold for it to actually be able to withstand any wind or wind information of that nature.
Okay, and actually, so in the report, it gives us some criteria, some guidelines that we should be looking at. One of them is, does this proposed project, does it stabilize and improve property values within the city of Duncanville? In your professional opinion, would it do that?
That's I can't really answer that per se. Basically, as long as the materials are met, I don't know whether or not it's going to have like a quote-unquote ostentatious look with the house or things of that nature. So with that said, I can't answer that address 100%. We just know that the materials that they're utilizing are sound and does meet the wind threshold that they are required to ensure that it's safe and structurally sound.
Thank you. And the Planning and Zoning Board looked at this and
yes,
approved it
approved
unanimously,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Did they see any plans? Did they see any structural plans or what it would look like? Or
No,
anything
no,
like
sir.
That? Okay. So I'm asking questions because we get these every once in a while, and we just got one recently, and we've got some more on the way. And I voted against the last one, and I didn't really say why. And just for me personally, I don't want to get in the habit of approving these SUPs without giving them any kind of proper evaluation. We haven't seen any plans on this. I understand it's in the back of the property, but I just believe we do need to make sure we exercise our due diligence as we evaluate all these SUPs that go through and make sure they meet the standards here. And I just read off one or two of these, but there's about 8 or 9 of them, and I don't know if this project has been properly evaluated in light of these criteria, and so I will be voting against this particular SUP. Thank you.
Mr. Contreras.
Although I agree with Councilman Kuntz that the plan should be submitted to the board hearing this case, but certainly the plans will be submitted upon application with a permit.
Yes,
or a permit. So at that time, they would have the details that they need. Otherwise, the building official wouldn't approve it. So the standards for the post supporting it, I think, is 14 gauge, and the cover is 26 gauge, and that's an industry standard that has to be met, so that the building official will receive that information and confirm that it's going to be built to that standard. In addition to that, they'll be inspecting it. before they final it.
And in furtherance to that, looking at the standards that we have and looking at the concrete pad that has to be laid for this.
Exactly.
The concrete pad is the support, and it's the improved service that has to be provided in order for the carport to exist in the first place.
Yes, and will also be inspected by a building official as
That's going
well.
to be inspected, and it has to be planned for, and that's going to have the essential rebar that's going to be included in that concrete as well.
This is accurate, yes, sir.
Seeing no more discussion, Chair will entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Mr. Contreras. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Cooks. Council, please vote. The vote is 5-1. Mr. Coons dissenting. Thank you. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Seeing it is right at 6 o'clock, and you know our desire to bring this close for a hard stop at 6 o'clock, we're looking at the next item on the agenda, the Staff and Board Report, which is the monthly financial report by Ms. Atmore. This is in great detail and normally takes a good 20 to 30 minutes for us to go through. In deference to understanding the details of it, I would propose that we postpone this. We do have a special city council meeting coming up on April 26th. If it's acceptable to council, we can defer this to the 26th and cover it when we do then, so we can get to our appointment with the Independent School District for 6:30. Seeing consent, thank you very much. We're going to defer item number 6, monthly financial report as of February 28th, 2022, to our April 26th special council meeting. Ms. Atmore, thank you very much. And City Manager, please communicate that. Okay. With that, calling this meeting adjourned at 6:01. Thank you.